All right, okay now. So, what the hell was I thinking? Oh well. Shall we go and see the most disappointing cars of the last 20 years by the dude in blue? Indeed. Which car do I think is gonna be on this list? Oh, damn, my English today is struggling. Most disappointing, the new NSX. Definitely a disappointment. The Supra was kind of yikes. Huh. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention that much to the new cars because, I won't probably never go into a dealership and actually buy a new car. Disappointing. Well, the new Eclipse is a crossover SUV. Oh, damn. Oh, it's stuck. Alright. Maybe if you guys want to see what's in this, it's the golden edition of the unicorn head. Yes, I bought this back when he was alive, of course. It's the golden one. Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, I wasted 2 minutes of your time, but yeah, let's see.
Advanced so quickly in the past 20 years that it's almost hard to fathom. Technology has grown, ECUs and traction control has gotten better, but there was quite a few duds. Okay, there was a lot of duds.
Oh
Out
yeah.
of all the cars I have driven or seen in person, only a few have made me truly disappointed. But here's the rules. These are in no particular order. I kind of dislike all these on the same level, so don't think it's like a ranking system or anything.
First
the
car.
third gen Mitsubishi Eclipse
Okay,
was
yeah.
an enormous
As I said, the
disappointment when it
Eclipse.
came out in the early 2000s. With the fish gills on the doors, the weird headlights, the taillights were okay, the back of it was alright. But the third generation Eclipse was when the Eclipse truly started to have its fall from grace. Going from the DSM tuner car of our generation that rivaled big brands like Honda and Toyota, Mitsubishi was starting to turn into, well, the Mitsubishi we know today, which is lame. And nobody really adopted it like a tuner platform as much as the last ones, the first gen DSM and the second gen DSM. There was also no all-wheel drive model off the top of my head, which made it front-wheel drive with a really lame V6 up front that wasn't great to tune. That led to the downfall to the next bubbly Eclipse, and then of course the notorious crossover Eclipse. Mitsubishi did not know how to read the room on this one, and it's really unfortunate that the Eclipse never reached the heights that it really desered.
Yeah, that's such a nice body style as a
The
Volvo.
Acura Integra, not the old one, the new one.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that.
Yes, there was a four-door version of the old Integra, but nobody really remembers that one as much. And yes, there's going to be a Type S of the new Integra, which honestly is a relief. But when I think about the new Integra, I can say when it comes to driving and the interior, yeah, it's a nice car. And that's kind of what you get. It's a nice car. But I feel as though it was a missed opportunity for something else. And that's why I get kind of, I don't know, worked up when I talk about the new Integra, because the Civic audience is not the same as the Integra audience, at least in the enthusiast community. And that was assumed since the two-door Civic Coupe didn't do so well in sales, so they scrapped the idea of doing a
Look at that
two-door
car,
Coupe
bro.
Integra. But then
So
those
cool.
renderings came out from a fan, and the world went nuts and said, oh man, maybe there is hope for this. And then we got this yellow four-door thing. Also, the premier version of the Integra had a pretty small engine in it, which also did not come across that great when you did a drastic style decision and you didn't come out with
around
some specific Type R
$30,000
motor on the
fuck
get-go.
outta here.
Plus, I don't think the front end is easy to identify as an Integra. Every single time I see a TLX or an ILX in the distance, I think it's the Integra coming towards me, and then I see the back of it, and it's not. I've only seen maybe 2 of the Integras in the wild, and that's about it. Ah, the modern Chevy Blazer. Man, you remember the new Blazer? I forgot it even existed. A legend of the SUV and off-road community, turned into basically a crossover SUV with a bunch of fins on it. For a short little story, I was at a Cars and Coffee and a Chevy representative came up to me and asked me what I thought about the new Blazer. And I literally said, "Oh, so where is it in the show?" And it was right next to me. I was so embarrassed. But the Blazer went to being a Ford Bronco rival fighter to,
Well, I mean, the car has no presence at all. It's just a car at that point. So you don't have to be embarrassed for that. They just made a bad car that has no presence. Like if a R32 pulls up, you know for a fact, you know, there it is. Everyone's gonna look at it. That car has presence. But this blob over here ain't it.
this thing. Honestly, there's not much to be said about it. It is what it is. It's right in front of us, and it's a huge bummer. I can't tell you how excited I was about the new Nissan Z. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. I'm on the fence about it. I'm not completely 100% sold that I'm disappointed by the car. There are things about the car that I do like. The engine's really great. The interior is a step up from the 370Z, but there are things I don't like. I don't like that the door panel has the same door handles as the 370Z.
Oh, no,
I don't like that the traction control can't be turned completely off
that's also
in a Nissan, which Nissan is pretty much known for drifting. And I know that's a weird gripe, and the more general public isn't going to care about that. But no matter what I did, the traction control still had some nannies. So top of third gear going into fourth gear, it pulled timing and would stop me from having fun every single time, even after pressing the traction control button. So there's that. And I know the 370Z, you also had to do some weird things to do that as well, but that's just unfortunate. When the GR86 can just do whatever you want, that's kind of a big fat punch in the face. But what really hurts this car is the price point. It's just too expensive not to have a limited slip differential standard when all of its American and Japanese competitors do. When they released the pricing to this car at the press event, I could say I was absolutely shocked. And when they said the car was going to be sold for under $40,000 for the base model, and they sold it for $39,990, $10? Okay, come on.
Oh.
You know, after taxes and dealer markup, it's not going to be pretty. And that's for a base.
After taxes, remember, America does this after taxes thing because each and every state or area has their own tax system, bracket, whatever. But this car, I thought this car was nice, but kind of a yikes, especially with the traction control. Not that I usually, turn the traction control off, but if I do have a rear-wheel drive car, like, at least have the option to turn it off and to drift and to have full power, But anyway.
Model. Also, they're nearly impossible to try and buy right now. To actually find one to order and buy is incredibly difficult. And that is mostly due to supply chain issues and microchip issues, which I understand. Not to mention the brand new Mark V Supra with the manual transmission actually won me over. Whoa.
It would probably win me over as well if I haven't driven
Everything
one.
I didn't like about the original Mark V Supra with the ZF transmission auto, other than the visibility issues, I actually warmed up to the Mark V Supra a lot more because it was that much more fun to drive with all the subtle changes they did, and it handles better than the Z. So the verdict isn't completely in for me, but as of right now, I would not buy one for the prices they are selling for. So the
Oh,
worst
yeah, the
timing
WRX,
awards,
yeah.
Subaru, for getting rid of the STI right when the GR Corolla was coming out to try and fight it. But I've seen this in person, and unfortunately, it just doesn't do it for me. And I'm very easy to please when it comes to cars, looks, and aesthetics. The motor didn't improve a lot when it comes to horsepower, but it had a higher displacement. The plastic trim on the outside just doesn't look great. And yes, the CVT transmission in the automatic version is actually impressive from a technological standpoint, but overall, it's a bummer that there isn't a manual with a better interior, or the best interior. The Chevy SSR. Man, this truck is weird. I don't even know how to describe the SSR. I mean, on paper, it sounds kind of cool. It has an LS motor with decent power, has kind of a retro style feel to it, but it kind of gives off PT Cruiser vibes of that era where everybody was trying to go retro future and they didn't have it quite figured out yet. When I do see an SSR in the wild, I always am shocked because I legitimately forgot about them. The interior was not great, and these were very expensive. The SSR was a very expensive toy mini truck at the end of the day, and they just didn't sell very well. And the looks are very divisive. I don't really know how to feel about it. I don't think it's a great looking truck, and I don't think it's a terrible looking truck. What do you guys think about the SSR? Put it in the comment section below.
Well, maybe with a wide body it's nice, but no thank you. It does have an LS.
New Dodge Dart. Oh man.
Oh,
when this
Dart.
car was coming out, if you don't remember, Pastrana actually rallied one for a little bit, and it got me a little bit excited. Was I upset that they took the Dart name and slapped it on a little compact? Not really, because I didn't have that much attachment to the Dodge Dart. However, it wasn't a great car. I really thought that this might be the new Dodge Neon SRT4, and it just never lived up to that expectation. Along with that, I had one as a rental for about a month when one of my cars was broken, and I can tell you it was not a great experience. The tires would squeal at very low mile per hour when you took a corner, and it just did not handle great. The interior wasn't great. It felt like a rental car, even in upper trims. So the Dodge Dart, kind of disappointed that it never reached that SRT4 legendary status. Probably the biggest personal gripe I've ever had with a car is the Maserati Ghibli. This thing is a piece of for the amount of money you buy. In fact, I ranted about this car so much when I drove it in Europe that my wife had to tell me to shut up about the car. Yeah, I was definitely being a little snooty. I was thinking, oh man, I've never, driven a Maserati. Maybe I'll give it a whirl while I'm in my first time in Europe. And it was a huge mistake. I should have just gotten an Audi or a BMW or something.
Yeah.
The interior was awful. The steering wheel had no comfortable position on it. And when you're in high speeds on the Autobahn, you couldn't get a good grip on the steering wheel, which made it twice as terrifying. At the same time, the motor and transmission didn't feel like they were always together. The Giulia, which feels very similar when it comes to its power band, is a way better car for a cheaper price. It had plastic trim with like fake chrome logos on the dash. It was just really bad. So those are the disappointing cars off the top of my head. What about you guys? What are the most disappointing cars in your opinion that say have come out in the last 20 years or so? Put it down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch.
Oh yeah, that was something. Peace.